Caroline Evans was having a day out from her rented London flat, driving through rainy Oxfordshire, with her 15-year-old daughter slumped in a silent sulk next to her. They had taken in Oxford, city of dreaming spires, which seemed to have more traffic than a motorway in rush hour, plus a couple of thousand young people smoking and drinking coffee and hanging about outside pubs. Izzy ignored it all, but Caroline had fallen for the rain-slicked courtyards and the ancient colleges half hidden behind tall gates that had been there long before Henry's time. That would be Henry VIII, who, Caroline now figured, couldn't have been all bad, despite the 7 wives. After all, her own husband had had 2, and that was before her. A serial husband, she had said doubtfully when James told her he was going to marry her, though she was longing to say yes because she was so besotted by him she couldn't see straight, even with her glasses on. Forget charming the birds, James Evans could and did charm everyone. Caroline remembered thinking it was okay about the other 2 wives. She would be his last wife. That's what James told her, and she believed him. She was 22. Now she was 38 and an ex-wife with a teenage daughter whose name was Isabel, always known as Izzy, who some days talked to her and some days did not, who looked mostly like her father and who, Caroline suspected, was smoking. However, she did not yet have a tattoo, or at least not one in any place visible to her mother. "Oxford's a lot different from when I was a girl," she said, manoeuvring the old Land Rover bumpily out of the city and onto the A40 towards Cheltenham, though she had no specific destination in mind. "Of course it is. That was a long time ago." Her daughter turned to look at her. "You should wear lipstick," she said, "and mascara." Caroline sighed, remembering not so long ago when her child had thought she was perfect. She fiddled in her handbag for the lipstick, and Izzy told her she shouldn't do that while driving. It seemed she could do nothing right. "Bloody rain," Izzy said, looking at the wipers sloshing water sideways across the windscreen. Caroline glanced sharply at her, then caught the sign for Burford and swung right into one of the prettiest high streets in the Cotswolds. Picture perfect, lined with small shops selling the usual souvenirs and postcards, but also art galleries and antique stores, bakeries and tea shops, as well as trees dripping onto the umbrellas of the few hearty citizens who waded through the puddles, heading for shelter. Caroline slammed on the brakes as the car pulled out in front of her. "Look, we've got a parking spot. We were meant to stop here. Let's have tea." Izzy's sigh matched the stoop of her shoulders as she clambered unwillingly out of the car and stood in the rain, looking, her mother thought with a twinge of pity, utterly helpless and defeated in her new Marks and Spencer's parka. Rain slicked her brown hair, and there was a look of sadness in her brown eyes. It had been there ever since they'd left Singapore a year and a half ago, and Caroline did not know what to do about it. Now, though, she grabbed her hand firmly and hurried her across the road into the nearest tea room. As they climbed the stairs and took the last available table, she wasn't thinking about the strawberry cream tea she would order for them both. She was thinking of James, wondering, as she had so often, if she had done the right thing leaving him. "Mom!" They had just sat down and Izzy got up again. "I'm going downstairs to look at the shop." The tea room was over a junky jewelry souvenir shop. "Okay." Caroline watched her go. The tea came carried on a plastic tray decorated with birds of the region, by a young woman not much more than her daughter's age, but who at least smiled at her and said it was the Earl Grey you wanted, madam. Caroline said it was, and the girl put the tray down, arranged the small flowery cups in front of her, and indicated the 2-tier china cake stand with its nicely browned scones and a choice of small cakes, eclairs, fruit tarts, and iced buns. There was a dish of strawberry jam and a deep bowl with cream so thick you could stand your spoon in it. "Perfect, thank you." Caroline found herself smiling as she poured pale tea into the flowery little cup. She had been brought up in London, an English girl who married, and gone to live in Singapore with a husband she loved, a daughter she adored, a beautiful penthouse home with a view of the river and the city and its twinkling nighttime lights.